Hi, I'm Claire, a librarian from Acton Memorial Library, and in this video I'm going to share a story with you. It's a story for a little bit older children or anyone who likes a truly grim, kind of old-fashioned fairy tale. And the story is from the Blue Fairy book, edited by Andrew Lang. These stories are in the public domain. This was published in 1891. And the story that I'm going to share today is Rumpelstiltzkin. By the way, you don't even really need to watch the video. You can just listen for the audio, but I will share a couple of pictures as we go. All right, Rumpelstiltzkin, here we go. There was once upon a time a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. Now it happened one day that he had an audience with the king, and in order to appear a person of some importance, he told him that he had a daughter who could spin straw into gold. "Oh, now that's a talent worth having," said the king to the miller. "If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her to my palace tomorrow. I will put her to the test." When the girl was brought to him, he led her into a room full of straw, gave her a spinning wheel and a spindle, and said, "Now set to work and spin all night till early dawn, and if by that time you haven't spun the straw into gold, you shall die." Then he closed the door behind him and left her alone inside. So the poor miller's daughter sat down and didn't know what in the world she was to do. She hadn't the least idea of how to spin straw into gold, and became at last so miserable that she began to cry. Suddenly the door opened, and in stepped a tiny little man, and he said, "Good evening, Miss Miller Maid. Why are you crying so bitterly?" "Oh," answered the girl, "well, I have to spin straw into gold, and I haven't a notion how it's done." "Oh, what will you give me if I spin it for you?" asked the mannequin. My necklace," replied the girl. The little man took the necklace and sat himself down at the wheel, and whir, 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 the wheel went round 3 times, and the bobbin was full. And then he put on another, and whir, 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 the wheel went down around 3 times, and the second too was full. And so it went on until the morning, when all the straw was spun away and all the bobbins were full of gold. As soon as the sun rose, the king came, and when he perceived the gold, that he was astonished and delighted. But his heart only lusted more than ever after the precious metal. He had the miller's daughter put into another room full of straw, much bigger than the first room, and he bade her, if she valued her life, spin it all into gold before the following morning. Well, the girl didn't know what to do, and she began to cry. And then the door opened as before, and the tiny little man appeared, and he said, "What'll you give me if I spin all this straw into gold for you?" And here's a picture of that. There's the miller's daughter and the spinning wheel and the mannequin, the little man. "The ring from my finger," answered the girl. The mannequin took the ring, and whirr went the spinning wheel again, and when morning broke, he had spun all of the straw into glittering gold. The king was pleased beyond measure at this sight, but his greed for gold was still not satisfied, and he had the miller's daughter brought into an even bigger room full of straw, and he said, "You must spin all this away in the night, but if you succeed this time, you shall become my wife." "She's only a miller's daughter," he thought to himself, "it's true, but I couldn't find a richer wife if I were to search the whole world over." When the girl was alone, the little man appeared for a 3rd time, and he said, "What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold for you?" "I've nothing more to give," answered the girl. "Then promise me when you are the queen that you will give me your first child." "Oh, Who knows what mayn't happen before that, thought the miller's daughter, and besides, she saw no other way out of it. And so she promised the mannikin what he demanded, and he set to work once more and spun the straw into gold. And when the king came in the morning and found everything as he had desired, he straightway made her his wife, and the miller's daughter became a queen. When a year had passed, a beautiful son was born to her, and she thought no more of the little man. Till all of a sudden, one day, he stepped into her room, and he said, "Now, give me what you promised." Oh, the queen was in a great state, and she offered the little man all the riches in her kingdom, if he would only leave her the child. But the mannikin said, "Oh, no, no, a living creature is much dearer to me than all the treasures in the world." Well, then the queen began to cry and sob so bitterly that the little man was sorry for her. And he said, "I'll give you 3 days to guess my name, and if you find it out in that time, you may keep your child." Then the queen pondered the whole night over all the names she'd ever heard, and she sent a messenger to scour the land and to pick up far and near any names he should come across. When the little man arrived the following day, she began with Casper, Melchquire, Belshazzar, and all the other names she knew in a string. But at each one, the mannikin called out, "That's not my name!" The next day, she sent to inquire the names of all the people in the neighborhood, and had a long list of the most uncommon and extraordinary for the little man when he made his appearance. "Is your name perhaps Sheepshanks? Cruikshanks? Spindleshanks?" But he always replied, "That's not my name!" On the 3rd day, the messenger returned and announced, "I've not been able to find any new names, but I did come across a high hill around the corner of the wood where the foxes and the hares bid each other good night, and I saw a little house, and in front of the house there burned a fire, and round the fire sprang the most grotesque little man, hopping on one leg and crying, 'Tomorrow I brew, today I bake, and then the child away I'll take. For little deems my royal dame that Rumpelstiltzkin is my name.'" Well, you may imagine the queen's delight at hearing the name. And when the little man stepped in shortly afterwards and asked, "Now, my lady queen, what's my name?" she asked first, "Is your name Conrad?" "No." "Is your name Harry?" "No." "Well, is your name perhaps Rumpelstiltskin?" "Some demon has told you this! Some demon has told you this!" screamed the little man, and in his rage he drove his right foot so far into the ground it sank in up to his waist, and then, in a passion, he seized the left foot with both hands and he tore himself in two. Well, that's the end of Rumpelstiltskin. I do have a picture to share with you. All right, thanks for checking out my video and listening to Rumpelstiltskin from the Blue Fairy book.